How old were you when the Great Depression started?
I think it was started in 26 to 7, 2 or 3. And they do say that people can't, as a person, you do not remember much before age 4.
Mm-hmm.
So what I remember will be what I've heard probably they talk about.
Yeah. Okay. When did you first hear about the Great Depression? When it started?
Well, it would have been probably the second or the third year that it was on, because my mother and father were farmers. They owned a farm that they were not able to pay for, and they lost it because it was I guess you'd call it couldn't pay for it, so they had to move, and we moved to a rental house until we could get on our feet to get by one.
Where did you live, and did your family have to move any?
Well, we lived in Lafayette Township on Columbia Road, and the family, that house is still there, but that's the one we had to move from. And then we moved over to, what's that next street over, Spencer Lake Road, I think, rented a place there. And finally, after a number of years, we went over to and bought a farm. Dad did, not me.
Okay.
What subject is it that you're studying this in?
We had to read a book in language arts on this, and we had to pick a project to do, and I picked this one. Okay, how did your family manage during those times?
Well, it was really tough, and I do know that Mom and Dad had a farm, and the only income a farmer has is when they sell something from the farm, normally. And they always had chickens, so they had neighbors would come and buy eggs, and that was about the only income we had. Another thing that was very popular at that time was the farmers, at least in the communities where we lived in Lafayette and Chatham, when it was threshing time, which was when you had to cut the wheat and get the wheat out of the stalks, and they would go to farm, and all, maybe would be 12 or 15 or whatever, and then Mom, every other mother would feed all of them when they're there that day helping. So that was always kind of a celebration day for us.
Yeah. How old were you when you began work?
When I began working?
Yeah.
Probably 17 or 18, because as soon as I graduated from school, that summer I went to work at the Ohio Injector Company was the name of it, in Wadsworth, and they made parts for Jeeps and airplanes and things. It was during the war, because I graduated in 1944, and the war was really going strong.
How many people were in your family that needed fed and clothed?
That needed what?
Fed and clothed during the Depression time.
Well, it would be all of us, I guess. No, that wouldn't be right, because my brother and my sister Marie, I think she had married young. But my brother Lou and Helen, those were the two I knew for sure that worked and brought their money they made back home. And my brother Lou worked at a plant in Medina, was called a pickle plant. They made canned pickles. And my sister Christine, she worked like a house sitter or babysitter, whatever you call it, to family in Lodi. Well, she went to school in Lodi and she lived with them actually. So what people did, they went and just lived in with somebody, and then they could do anything they wanted. You know, you'd have to do anything they wanted you to do.
So you had 2 siblings at that time? Or you had more?
Oh yes, I had 9.
9?
We were all still home when everyone was home yet. Yeah.
Describe what it was like at your school during the Depression.
Well, when I first started school, I started school in Lafayette. And then I think it was the third, so we lived in Lafayette Township on Columbia Road. And then we moved to Coon Club, I think it was. And then we went to Chatham. And that was, I can't remember if I think this or I knew it, but when we went over there, the classes were not as large. It seemed as though they were a smaller community or something. And I remember most being in the 3rd grade, and I couldn't even see the blackboard, so the teacher moved me clear up to the front. She kept moving my chair closer to the blackboard, and finally they wrote a letter or went to see him or something, said I absolutely had to get glasses. And you want to know what my first thought was with my glasses?
Yeah.
Well, they have to go and get fitted, you know, and then you go pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked into the house, and I looked down, and there was a pattern in the floor, because it was linoleum there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was all brown. And I looked out of the trees, had leaves, and they were not one big glob of green. That's how bad my eyes were. And they were like that all my life until I had my eye surgery, which really has helped them. I had my cataracts removed, which was a help. And I could go without my glasses some, but I shouldn't drive or something like that.
What did your parents think when the school said you had to have glasses? Did they say you couldn't afford them?
Well, no, but they knew that I had to, because you know the church gets after you. I mean, the school gets after you if you don't have them. And I don't know whether there was such a thing that if they didn't get them, if they would have paid for them. I don't know whether that was something in that, era.
Was there ever anything that you couldn't afford at school because your family was so poor during the Depression?
Yes, lots of things. There were times you had to pay, I can't remember how much, was it a quarter, 50 cents or something. They'd have movies like maybe once or twice a month. And they did them like a home movies. You went into the auditorium, and our auditorium had to set the seats up. Seats weren't there all the time. You had to set them all up, and then you sat and you watched a movie. If you didn't have the quarter or whatever they were charging to see the movie, you didn't get to go. So I never got to see movies. Usually it was at least me, maybe somebody else in the classroom. And then none of my sisters either went, so they didn't see the movies either. I'm sure they wouldn't allow that in schools today. And then the teacher always resented it because she couldn't. One teacher would have to stay with you. They couldn't go watch the movies too.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bad time.
What were the meals like that you ate, and how often or how much did you eat a day?
Well, we had 3 good meals because my mom was quite a gardener. She always had 3 gardens.
So even during the Depression?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would have start a garden of the kind of things you could start real early in the year. It would probably be like peas and carrots and things that were ground, stuff that stayed in the ground like carrots and beets and so forth. And then sweet corn was a big thing that came on later, and that was another garden. And I can't remember what the other was, but my mother, bless her heart, I said one thing, I think the reason all of us have been so healthy, we never went anywhere to eat out. We always ate at home, and it was all home cooked food. And we didn't go to McDonald's or anywhere ever and get something that had other additives in it,
Yeah.
which is not good for you. Yeah.
Okay.
And my mother had to cook 3 meals a day because Dad was a farmer, so he was there and came in for a big meal too. And so it was a real hardship for her, I'm sure. And she had just a wood burning stove. She didn't have gas or electric. She had to keep wood in it. And then she made our bread. We never bought bread. She always made this great big wonderful loaf of bread about this big around, and we used to slice off good. Should find good stuff like that today.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever were where you'd say so poor or so needy that we were hungry. I don't think we ever went without. If you didn't like it, you didn't eat it, well, you just didn't get it.
Okay, what was the fashion for the younger girls in that era?
Well, we still wore dresses to school. We were allowed to, if you had to have tennis shoes, if you didn't have leather shoes, you could wear tennis shoes to school, but they were not permissible for, let's see, your main shoe. You're supposed to wear your shoes, and none of us did because we didn't have, and we all had hand-me-downs. I'm sure I wore shoes that were too big for me and too little for me lots of times, if that's the only thing was there.
Mom, you want to talk about the boxes you'd get from the librarian at Christmas? The special thing that you would get?
This was a family, their name was Dick, their last name was D-I-C-K, and he was the head of the library in Cleveland, I believe, at the time. But they were very good church members of Mom and Dad's church. They went to the same church in Cleveland, which was a Catholic church. And every year at Christmas time, we all couldn't wait for that big box to come because there would be a gift for every one of us. There'd be 12 of us, probably Mom and Dad too are counting, and then always a big 5-pound box of candy. And that was a real treat, because what we get under the tree, usually from Santa, would be like underwear, socks, or something that are very vital that we, were wearing out. No money to buy some more, so they became a gift. And you appreciated them too, you know.
Okay, last question. How did you feel during all of this?
I can't say that I could say how I felt. The things that bothered me probably the most were the fact that I had to wear clothes that my older sisters wore. And we didn't wear slacks and tops, we wore dresses. So when they outgrew them, they went to the next person until they got, turned to rags, I suppose.
Did you not like having to never get what you wanted since you didn't have enough money?
I remember there were many times I didn't. One time we wanted to go, there used to be a free movie in Lodi on like Tuesday, at the theater. There used to be a theater in Lodi. And on Tuesday they had a matinee that was free. So we would walk like 5 miles or what it was from where we lived to go to Lodi to see the movie, and they let us do that. And I guess there wasn't the thought of what goes on roads today when kids are walking. It was much more safe, I think. There was always someone that could see somebody doing something they shouldn't do, I suppose.